Every day, life hands you 24 golden hours. The real question is, what are you going to do with them? Too many of us spend this precious gift chasing distractions, pleasing others, and then wondering why we feel stuck. But time doesn't stop. It doesn't wait. And every wasted hour is a piece of your life you'll never get back. If someone placed 24 pure gold coins in your hand every morning and told you, by midnight, you must spend them all, and whatever you don't use is gone forever, would you toss them carelessly on the ground? Would you trade them for trinkets, gossip, and meaningless chatter? Or would you invest them wisely in things that would grow, multiply, and build a legacy? Yet, that is exactly what happens with time. Most of us trade it for pennies when we've been given treasure. I once knew a man who worked tirelessly in a factory for decades. Every morning he rose before dawn, not because he loved the job, but because he believed his loyalty would one day be rewarded. But as the years went by, he began to notice something. The clock on the wall never stopped ticking, and while the company grew richer, he grew older. His dream of starting his own small shop remained only a dream, locked away in his mind because he kept saying, "One day, I'll get to it." When I last saw him, his hands were rough, his back was bent, and his spirit carried the heavy weight of regret. He didn't lose because he lacked ability. He lost because he kept giving his golden hours to things that didn't matter, leaving nothing for the things that did. We fool ourselves into thinking we have plenty of time, that there will always be another tomorrow, another season, another chance to begin. But the truth is, none of us know how many tomorrows are left. Some of you listening to me right now have dreams you've buried for years, books unwritten, songs unsung, ideas untested, relationships unrepaired. Not because you couldn't, but because you kept postponing, wasting hours on what was urgent instead of what was important. How many people have sat at their kitchen table late at night, staring at the clock, and whispered to themselves, "Where did the years go?" Not because life was cruel, but because they allowed themselves to drift day after day into things that drained them, things that looked busy but produced nothing. There is a world of difference between movement and progress. A rocking chair moves all day long, but it never takes you anywhere. And too many of us are sitting in rocking chairs, convincing ourselves that we're going somewhere. Time is the only resource you cannot earn back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose opportunities and find new ones. But when you lose time, it is gone, forever. And if you are not careful, you will spend the best years of your life building castles for someone else, chasing approval from people who don't care, or drowning in routines that never bring you closer to who you were meant to be. I once heard of a farmer who worked his fields with devotion, season after season. His neighbors mocked him because he refused to waste his afternoons in idle talk at the tavern. Instead, he tended his soil, he watered his crops, and he studied the weather. Years later, while others struggled, he had a barn full of harvest. He wasn't lucky, he was focused. He chose to spend his golden hours on things that mattered, and the results could not be denied. And that's the key. Every choice you make with your hours is either moving you toward a harvest or robbing you of one. Every day is either an investment or a loss. The tragedy is that most people won't realize which path they've taken until the later chapters of their life, when their strength is gone and their time is short. So I want you to imagine this. Standing at the end of your days, looking back at the life you've lived, will you be proud of how you spent your hours? Or will you be haunted by the moments you threw away, the dreams you abandoned, the people you could have loved better but didn't? Because make no mistake, the clock keeps ticking, whether you act or not. And if you don't take control of your hours, someone else will. How to recognize what's stealing your time. Time rarely disappears in big chunks. It slips away in small, almost invisible leaks. Like a bucket with tiny holes at the bottom, your day drains quietly until you look back and wonder where it all went. The danger is not always in the obvious, it's in the unnoticed. How many conversations have you had out of politeness that left you feeling empty? How many tasks have you done out of habit that brought you no progress? How many little favors have you agreed to that took hours from your own journey? These are the subtle thieves of time. They don't arrive loudly, they creep in quietly, disguised as just a moment, just a quick task, or just helping out. And before you know it, they've robbed you of your focus, your strength, your golden hours. If you want to recognize what's stealing your time, pay attention not to what makes you tired, but to what leaves you unfulfilled. True work, even when it's hard, brings a sense of growth. But wasted time leaves you restless, almost guilty, as if you know deep inside that you traded something priceless for something meaningless. A wise farmer does not spend the planting season chasing birds in the sky. He knows his duty is to the soil. In the same way, your duty is not to everything that demands your attention, but to the things that grow your future. Start looking at your days with the eyes of a farmer. Which actions are seeds and which are just noise? Which people water your growth and which only drain your strength? Which habits move you closer to your goals and which pull you away quietly? The greatest awareness you can develop is the ability to separate urgency from importance. Many things feel urgent in the moment, but only a few are truly important for your life's direction. Train yourself to pause and ask, if I give my time to this, will I be proud of it tomorrow? Will it matter a year from now? Or am I just letting the thief in through the back door? Every time you recognize a thief of time, you gain back a piece of your life. Awareness is the first weapon against waste. Once you see the leak, you can patch it. Once you name the thief, you can guard the door. The truth about distractions and wasted energy. We live in a world designed to distract you. Everything around you is screaming for your attention. Notifications, advertisements, gossip, negativity, even your own doubts, all competing to steal the most valuable asset you'll ever own: your focus. Most people don't even realize how much of their life they waste on things that don't matter. They think distraction is harmless. It's just 5 minutes on my phone. It's just one more episode. It's just a little small talk. But listen carefully. Just a little becomes your whole life if you're not careful. Drops of wasted time create oceans of regret. And wasted energy? That's even more dangerous. Do you know how many people wake up every morning already exhausted? Not because they worked too hard the day before, but because they spent their strength on things that didn't deserve it? Arguments that led nowhere. Chasing approval from people who don't even care. Worrying about opinions that won't matter in 5 years. That's where their energy went. And when it came time to invest in their dreams, in their growth, in their future, they were too tired to try. Energy and focus are like currency. Spend them wisely, and you'll build wealth in your life. Spend them recklessly, and you'll end up broke in every area that matters. Broken opportunities, broken progress, broken purpose. The people who win in life aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are simply the ones who learn to guard their attention like treasure. They don't allow every little thing to pull them off course. They understand that focus is a weapon, and when directed, it cuts through all the noise and gets results. The world will always hand you distractions. The world will always try to tempt you with shortcuts, comfort, and noise. But the successful? They are ruthless about protecting their energy. They say no more often than they say yes. They don't chase every conversation. They don't answer every call. They don't open every door. Why? Because they understand that wasted attention today equals wasted potential tomorrow. If you don't control your focus, someone else will control it for you. If you don't guard your energy, the world will drain it without asking permission. So the question is, are you the driver of your attention, or just a passenger being dragged wherever distraction decides to take you? Why focus is more valuable than talent? Talent is often celebrated. People admire the gifted athlete, the brilliant musician, the quick-thinking leader. We look at them and say, if only I had that kind of talent, my life would be different. But let me tell you something that might surprise you. Talent is not the deciding factor in success. Focus is. How many people have you known who were filled with potential, gifted beyond measure, but never achieved anything significant? They had the ability, but they lacked the discipline to direct it. On the other hand, you've probably met men and women who weren't the most talented, weren't the smartest, but they made their mark because they were able to keep their eyes on a target and move toward it with consistency. Talent can open a door, but focus is what keeps you walking through it. Without focus, talent scatters. It becomes like sunlight, warm, yes, but unfocused. With focus, even a little bit of ability becomes like a laser, powerful enough to cut through steel. A brilliant student in school, sharper than anyone in his class. People expected him to rise quickly, but he could never stay with one thing. He drifted from one pursuit to another, always beginning but never finishing. His talent was real, but without focus, it went to waste. His potential turned into regret. The lesson is clear. Talent may make you admired, but focus makes you effective. And in this life, effectiveness will always beat admiration. Talent whispers what you could be. Focus determines what you will be. If you want to separate yourself from the crowd, don't pray for more talent. Work on your focus. Talent without focus is like a wild horse, beautiful but uncontrollable. Focus turns that horse into a force that can pull you to places you never thought possible. So, remember this. While others are waiting for their natural gifts to carry them forward, you can surpass them by mastering the art of focus. It's not about how much you've been given, it's about how well you use what you have. How to align your time with your goals. If I were to follow you around for a week, not listening to what you say your goals are, but only watching how you spend your time, what would I conclude about your priorities? Would I see a life that's aligned with a clear vision, or would I see someone pulled in a dozen directions, giving their hours away to things that don't move them forward? Time is the most honest reflection of what truly matters to us. A man can say he wants to be strong, but if his hours are spent in idleness, his body will tell the truth. A woman can say she wants financial freedom, but if her hours are spent on comforts rather than growth, her bank account will tell the truth. Your life never lies. It simply mirrors where your time has gone. Most people set goals, but they never rearrange their time to serve those goals. They speak of wanting change, but they keep living on yesterday's schedule. And if you give your time to things that have nothing to do with your vision, don't be surprised when years pass and your dreams remain untouched. You see, alignment isn't just about saying, "I want this." Alignment is about building your days around it. If your goal is health, then your mornings belong to movement and discipline, not indulgence. If your goal is mastery, then your evenings belong to study and practice, not idle chatter. If your goal is to build something that lasts, then your calendar must reflect the building blocks of that dream, brick by brick, hour by hour. A farmer doesn't say, "I want a harvest," and then spend his days wandering the village. He tills the soil, he plants the seeds, he waters the field. His time is chained to his goal, and because of that, the harvest comes. So let me ask you, is your time chained to your harvest? Or are you scattering your hours in places that can never feed you back? When your time aligns with your goals, something powerful happens. You begin to feel a sense of peace. Not ease, but peace. Because you know you are on the right road. Every small task becomes meaningful because it fits into a bigger picture. And even when it's hard, you no longer feel lost. You feel on purpose. So take a hard look at your hours. Does your daily life honor your vision? Or is it betraying it? If it's the latter, then change it. Reshape your day until it bends toward your dream. Don't let your goals remain words. Let your schedule prove them. Because at the end of the day, time doesn't care about excuses. It only measures what you chose to give. Practical steps to reclaim your power and productivity. Now let's take everything we've uncovered, the wasted time, the traps of distraction, the need for focus, the call to align your hours with your vision, and put it into action. Because wisdom without action is nothing more than words echoing in an empty hall. The world does not reward what you intend to do. It rewards what you actually do. And if you truly want to reclaim your life, you must learn not only how to think differently, but how to act differently every single day. The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to confront. So begin with a simple inventory of your day. Write down how you spend your hours. Not what you plan to do, but what you actually do. You'll be surprised how many minutes slip away in idle conversation, meaningless tasks, or sitting still waiting for something to happen. Once you see where your time goes, you'll realize why your results are the way they are. Awareness shines a light on the thieves of your life. The second step is prioritization. Not everything deserves your attention. You must learn to separate the urgent from the important. Many people are enslaved by the urgent, the ringing phone, the small request, the trivial demand. But life's great rewards come to those who dedicate themselves to the important, the work that builds their future, the relationships that bring real meaning, the health that sustains their strength. Ask yourself daily, if I could only accomplish 3 things today, what would they be? Then give your best hours to those things. The third step is discipline. Nothing changes without it. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. It's what allows you to say, this hour belongs to my work, and I will not give it away. It's what helps you rise when your body says rest, and persist when your mind whispers, quit. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. It frees you from regret, from mediocrity, from the quiet despair of a life half-lived. The fourth step is boundaries. Guard your time as you would guard your most valuable treasure, because it is. Learn to say no without guilt, because every yes you give to something meaningless is a silent no to something meaningful. You don't owe your hours to everyone who asks for them. You owe them to your future, your family, your purpose. Protect them fiercely. And finally, the fifth step is consistency. Greatness is not built in a single day of effort, but in the steady rhythm of daily dedication. The stonecutter does not split the rock with one strike, but with hundreds, each blow guided by patience and persistence. So commit to small disciplines, repeated faithfully, until they become habits. These habits will shape your destiny more than any single burst of inspiration. Reclaiming your power and productivity is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about choosing again and again to use your hours with wisdom instead of waste. It's about proving, not to the world, but to yourself, that your time matters too much to be given away to what doesn't. Because in the end, life is not measured by the days you lived, but by what you did with the days you were given.